Now, Brazil is Latin America's worst affected country and the world's 6th in terms of COVID-19 cases, more than 190,000 and over 13,000 deaths. Let's go to Rio de Janeiro now and speak to our correspondent Lucinda Elliott. Lucinda, Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro has been tested twice for COVID-19 but won't reveal the results, and now Congress has given him an ultimatum to do so within 30 days.
Yeah, so a Supreme Court judge actually has ruled that the president's coronavirus tests should be made public, which actually goes against Bolsonaro's wishes. Remember that the Brazilian president was actually suspected in March of having contracted COVID-19 as dozens of members of his own entourage actually tested positive for the disease. Well, the judge has said that the exams should now be made public, and all of this when he's sort of still out and about, leaning in for selfies without a mask, and for weeks now with his supporters. So this shows that pressure is really mounting for him to present the results.
And he's also denying this week that he tried to shield his family and friends from federal police inquiries. What's that about then?
Yeah, so questions really remain over whether Bolsonaro tried to interfere in the work of the police to protect his own family from investigation, namely his two sons, Carlos and Flavio. And this week, what we've had is a series of testimonials from Brazilian ministers who actually attended a meeting that was caught on video, where allegedly Bolsonaro makes it quite clear that he wanted to protect his children and dismiss the head of the police. And these are accusations that are being led by the former Justice Minister Sergio Moro, who actually resigned his post very publicly last month because he believes that Bolsonaro was interfering with the police and put in place his own police chief to cover up probes into his sons.
Lucinda, you've made a long report giving an overview of the situation in Brazil. It'll be broadcast here on France 24 on Saturday. Let's watch an extract.
Manaus, the Amazon capital, where the death toll has soared. Rio de Janeiro. Everywhere, the situation is getting worse. In a sign of this desperate race against the clock, Rio's iconic Maracanã football stadium has been converted into a temporary field hospital. 7 others have been built across the state. Its governor has ordered the closure of schools, shops, and picture postcard beaches. All this against the president's. In Brazil, coronavirus is at the heart of a political fight. Suspected of having contracted COVID-19, President Jair Bolsonaro has dismissed the health crisis. He regularly greets crowds, shaking hands and leaning in for selfies without a mask. He accuses the media of creating a climate of collective hysteria. Up and down the country, Bolsonaro's supporters have been railing against what they call the coronavirus dictatorship at protests like this one in Rio.
É do comunavírus, a gente tem medo é do comunismo. Não temos medo não, e tem que abrir tudo sim, porque os pais de família precisam trabalhar, tá bom? Chega de governador ditador.
The protesters who gathered in Rio are from the area where Bolsonaro solidified his key support base during the presidential elections. Over in Campo Grande, a working-class suburb, the governor's orders to close businesses have been largely ignored. Zico PQD became their spokesperson.
Ô, meu amigo! Estou aqui embaixo dessa faixa na qual os lojistas pediram apoio para mostrar que o lojista está ao lado do nosso presidente da República, capitão Bolsonaro. O capitão não quer, que o governo não quer, que venha sofrer as consequências com loja fechada.
Since the start of the outbreak, like the president, Zico has been convinced that the virus will do more harm to the economy than to the health of the country and its citizens.
Pode estar chegando, ó. Isso aqui é a loja dele, ó.
In this small cosmetic store, the owner faces a fine of up to €200.
Eu tenho 6 funcionários no total, 3 estão de licença, né? Porque eu não tenho condição de custeá-las. E as outras 3 estão aqui. Essa aqui é a minha principal funcionária, onde pode mostrar para vocês mais coisas da loja. Eu sei que não é nem artigo de necessidade, mas a necessidade é minha.
Você não tem...
Aren't you afraid of facilitating the spread of the virus?
Estou
Eu participo desde o começo e já estou participando desse grupo. Só que eu posso pegar um resfriado e posso me curar. Agora, se eu quebrar, eu não me levanto mais, eu não tenho mais como me levantar.
Faced with a soaring infection rate and a record number of deaths recorded in the neighbourhood, this pedestrian route was closed off the day after our visit.
Back to Lucinda in Rio de Janeiro. Lucinda, that was just a few minutes of your report. Tell us more about what we can expect.
Well, yes, we put together this report really on the state of coronavirus in Brazil, where lockdown measures remain, as we saw from that small snippet, fairly conflicting. We followed people who live in the favelas, who need to go out and work, cemetery workers, nurses. We even actually managed to speak to criminal gangs here in Rio who have been trying to stop the spread of coronavirus by implementing their own lockdown measures and then looking into working class areas and suburbs where Bolsonaro obviously has a strong base of support.
All right, thank you very much, Lucinda Elliott in Rio de Janeiro, and you can watch her special report in full on Saturday at 9:10 p.m. Paris time.